All right, so like we keep doing, we will talk a little bit about what's going on with us while they kind of build up the beginning of the game.
Mm.
Why don't we discuss why you chose Terran?
Um, you know, when I started playing StarCraft, I wasn't really sure what sort of race I wanted to play. I'd played Brood War a bit, but I could never decide what race that really stuck out to me the most as, fitting my style or anything like that.
Right, right.
So, one of the things I did when I started playing StarCraft is I figured, well, I'll see what the players who I know choose. So I followed some Warcraft 3 pros, and when they switched over from StarCraft, I decided to see what they were going to play. Because I figured maybe they know something that I don't. Maybe they think Warcraft 3 skills transfer better with Terran or anything. So I ended up, a couple of the Warcraft 3 players that I was a fan of, they ended up choosing Terran. So seeing that, I decided, well, I'll give it a shot, and I've played Terran ever since. I never looked back.
You see, and this is something that you'll probably hear is like a reoccurring thing, especially when we were over there talking to NRS Brigade. They were talking about how they had favorite League of Legends LCS players that they followed, and I want to say at least a good 90% of the people on NOS decided that their favorite champion was actually the champion that their who they follow's champion was.
Hmm.
Like the support, he loved Thresh, and the person that he watches, which is who did he say? I think he said Wild. No, it wasn't Wild Turtle. It was X Special. He follows X Special, and X Special loves Thresh. So it's just that kind of same thing. It's that same kind of tempo. Gamers watch gamers. Gamers learn from gamers. Gamers grow as gamers. And guess what? One day we'll all be gamers. One day. You'll just wait and see. All right. So let's see. Tell me, is there anything different from the Open from Cyrus?
Nope. Cyrus has gone back to what he knows best, and I can't really blame him. He's on match point. He hasn't lost yet when he does this opening. I mean, he at this point, I think he's saying, "Yeah, I want to win this." So he is just
And
going
just get it done
to,
and over with.
yeah,
The,
he's
the,
just
so-
going to stick to what he knows.
and Muffin once again, same opening. Is there another opening he could use to try to get this Reaper thing going? I mean, maybe a quick something with Zerglings to get that Reaper just as soon as it shows up, kill it off.
He could. I think the reason he's not doing that is because he figures Cyrus would probably be able to handle it pretty well. Any sort of early units from Moofin to try and deal with the Reaper would be a bit of a commitment from him, and I think he doesn't think Cyrus is any slouch. So he probably figures Cyrus can handle any sort of little curveballs I throw at him in the openers. So I'm just gonna have to try and beat him in the mid game.
Hmm.
Although we've seen that's been a problem. So it
Well, I mean, if he wants to win this, oh, there's more than one Reaper this time.
Yeah, too. This isn't terribly uncommon. Oh, and we see actually Cyrus does. Reapers are very, very fragile, so he overextends, he stops paying attention, and one is gone in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and there's that Queen. That Queen should be able to help out with a little more defense from that
Yeah,
Reaper.
it definitely
I
does.
think every game we've seen so far, he stops the Reaper attack once the Queen shows up.
The queens are very essential for holding that Reaper attack. And we see Cyrus. So the two Reapers was a bit different, and so far, though, it looks other than that he's just going to go into his normal gameplay, so I'm not really sure why he chose to do two. Maybe he just misclicked, maybe he decided to throw a curveball towards Muffin. I
Just
don't
to
know.
see what would happen.
Yeah, it's possible.
And what are those? Are those still Zerglings?
Yeah, those are still Zerglings.
They just look weird without the little wings coming out of their backs.
Yeah, until he has speed, they're going to look like that, but that shouldn't be too long.
But that's pretty cool that they've upgraded the graphics enough to be able to tell if an upgrade is on somebody. Kind of like Kha'Zix in League of Legends.
Yeah, very much so.
I wonder if they took that from StarCraft or vice versa.
I'm not sure. I think the wings have been on. That has been a little effect, I guess, that StarCraft 2 has had since it was created, I believe. So I don't think that's new.
Well, either way, just out of curiosity, it's pretty
Mhm.
cool. It's a pretty cool effect that StarCraft's got going on.
Definitely.
So third base. This time he's rushing that third base like you were talking about the first
Yeah.
time.
I think at this point Muffin says, you know what, I've got to change up something. He's been stymied by Cyrus pretty convincingly. He needs to make something else work because, if he just keeps doing the same old thing, he's probably just going to keep losing the same old way.
Man, it looks like he's about to lose that. Oh. Why would he back off?
Well, Hellions and Reapers aren't terribly effective against buildings, so it's going to take him a while to kill that. He's also trying to pick off the creep tumors as they're being extended, because he knows that if he can delay the creep, that'll give him an advantage in the mid game. He is going to be forced back though. He's still spreading that creep and he's getting lings, so he's going to try and defend this. See Cyrus
he
though.
saved his base.
Yeah, definitely. Cyrus himself is getting a third, so he might not try and put too much pressure on.
He is moving that starport into the double build for his medevacs, right?
Yeah, for Terran, the add-ons are swappable. So if I build the reactor with a factory, as Cyrus just did, I can put that on a starport or a barracks, and it will operate just the same way. So it's something that a lot of Terrans take advantage of to reduce the time they need to have a building be idle. He's not using his factory for anything else. Make that reactor so the starport doesn't have to.
Right. So why not build another attachment with his factory while it's just idle?
He might not be planning on using his factory that much this game. It's a little curious because he's been relying on those widow mines quite a bit in his play, but maybe he is gonna start. Well, he starts and cancels a widow mine.
Huh. I wonder why.
Yeah, not sure. And he is going to start his engineering base so he can upgrade his units. He's going to keep producing bio. So far, though, no widow mines. So, never mind. There's the reactor. So he is going to get widow mines after all.
Looks like he just wanted to finish something real quick, which is probably the armories.
Yeah.
And then start into his widow mine stuff.
Yeah, and we see he is going for drop play once again. This time with Hellions, though. But we'll see if Moofin is
damaged
prepared for it.
Hellions at that.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a weird feeling that Queen's gonna.
The Queen could help, but if Moofin doesn't have his lings in position, well, he sees it with the Overlords now. So
If
how
he's
quick?
paying attention.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it?
Yep, right there.
Moofin hasn't responded in time, and Cyrus is gonna back out though. Actually,
Well, he stopped production though. I mean, he stopped the time that they were digging there.
Yeah,
mining.
Yeah, definitely. Cyrus picking off a couple units. He's not overcommitting with this, certainly
He's being
though.
annoying is what he's doing.
Yeah, he's being annoying. That's certainly very true.
I mean, and that's oddly enough that happens a lot more in games than you see, and annoyance can be a strategy.
Yeah, if you're not prepared to deal with that, then it can really get under your skin.
Definitely. It's like a sliver.
Yeah.
Somebody that's trying to build a house that has a sliver in their finger might not be able to hit with the hammer as hard. I don't know. I don't know if that really works or if I stole that from somewhere. But yeah, sliver, finger, hammer, no. Yeah. All right. So back to what's going on here. The Zerglings are happy. They're ready to do some damage, but I don't know. Cyrus is just he feels safe. Like
Yeah, he feels very safe. He caught Moofin was not prepared. He didn't have these banelings already ready. So he's trying to make them to the last second. But Cyrus he's just going to retreat.
roaches.
Yeah, the roaches was interesting. I really feel like Cyrus could have won that battle, but I guess playing it safe, he's just going to back off for now. Moofin kind of catches a break there because I think he probably could have taken a lot more damage than he did. But we'll see what he does, though, to try and respond.
Double widow mine's gone.
Yeah, the widow mines do get cleaned up.
Why would you even move them? Why wouldn't you just leave them in there to...
I think he hoped MoofinMan wouldn't be paying attention.
Ah, I see.
He wanted to keep them alive, and he said, hopefully you're not looking at these right now. But MoofinMan was on top of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did just move his units into a pile.
Yeah,
So.
very much.
But, you know, chances are chances.
And this is definitely a change from MoofinMan. And, I mean, that's good to see, definitely, when you're down in a set.
Yeah, see, I've seen Infectors a lot on online play. Like, they are a very powerful unit.
Yeah, the Infestor is a very strong unit, typically for its fungal growth ability.
Yeah,
This is, it's a projectile that they cast, and it holds units in position in an area of effect. So it's kind of like a net that covers a group, as we're going to see. So it's going to keep these Marines from moving, and it also is going to deal slight damage to them. This is really good because it lets the Zerg units come to grips with the Marines, which otherwise will just run away, as we see. And it especially works because those Banelings like to get into the giant groups of juicy Marines. But if If they're not fungal, then the Marines are just going to run away. So this is a pretty strong strategy by Moofin. Not something I see him do a lot, but we'll see how well he does with it, and we'll see how Cyrus reacts to it.
That poor little tumor.
Yeah, it's surprisingly stayed alive, and that scan barely misses it, so it's going to continue to stay alive.
That lucky tumor.
Yeah, it is very lucky.
I wonder what was he scanning for, do you think? The tumors, or do you think he was scanning for...
I think he just really wants to know what exactly Moofin's up to. This is a very tense situation. If Cyrus miscontrols, he's going to lose everything. He needs to be very sure of what's up here before he engages, or this could be very bad. This map is short. If he loses a battle here, it's going to carry all the way back to his third. He is not going to have time to rebuild his forces.
Well, he might know what he's doing here.
Yeah. He's trying to pick away at Moofin's force, not commit too much. Ooh, a nice fungal by Moofin there and a second, and that's going to really damage Cyrus's forces.
Yeah, stopping him from being able to push forward or pull back.
Yeah.
What was that?
Whoa, okay, so we saw the use of destructible rocks here. There was a rock pile here, just as there is over here, and when killed, it falls over and creates another rock pile. But Moofin used that. He killed it just to try and block Cyrus's path for a little while. It's just a little bit of a stalling tactic he used. It bought him a little time, but we'll see what he does with it.
Yeah, he seems to have backed off.
Yeah. He's coming forward once again, trying to break this contain of Cyrus's. Ooh, a Widowmine shot hit some of the infestors.
It's not good.
And the bio from Cyrus is proving very strong.
Definitely.
Cyrus is playing... He's handling his army very well. And
He's got
Moofin
him
is...
spread out.
Yeah,
Keeping him in small groups.
keeping them spread out in small groups is very important. And he's making sure to constantly do that. And he's got Moofin on the ropes right now. Even bringing in some siege tanks, actually. I like this choice. Siege tanks are very good against the slow, bulky infestors. We see MoofinMan, though, has gotten an Ultralisk.
What?
Ultralisks
More than
are...
one, actually.
Yeah, two, at least. Ultralisks are very big mammoth units. They deal splash damage just because of how big their tusks are, and they are very nasty. They don't take a lot of damage from Marines, so Moofin is going to...
Hide it inside the Zerglings?
Yeah, he's hoping that the Zerglings will let his Ultralisks close with the Marines and that he can chew them all up with his Ultralisks. He's also going to want to use Fungal to try and hold them, and there's the Fungal, and all those Marines are just going to get destroyed in seconds. Cyrus's army is obliterated, and Moofin is pushing this. Cyrus is having to fall back. He has macroed up, so he does have a bit of a defense.
Tank.
There's the tank. Moofin is going to push it, though. He is not afraid of this defense.
Nope.
And
Well,
Cyrus, ooh. Can Cyrus make the hold? Moofin is actually going to back up, though. He's not going to commit to that.
But
And
he at least got him out of his face.
yeah, definitely. He
Gives him a
bought
little bit more breathing room.
Yeah, he bought himself a lot of space. And Cyrus actually has this base here, which is... he's trying to create a planetary, but the D key, which loads the SCVs, is right next to the P key. So you'll see a lot of Terrans mess that up every once in a while. Moofin is going to retake this base, though, and he's going to...
some damaged units, though. Too bad he can't do anything
Yeah.
about it.
Well, he can with his Queens. Queens have an ability called Transfuse, which heals 125 health back to his Ultralisks. So it's pretty useful. If he does that, though, he won't have the energy... Well, in this case he will, but he normally wouldn't have the energy to inject larva, which is normally what he wants. So
Which he's not doing.
yeah, he
I've noticed this today. He seems to, as soon as he gets an army or he's ready to fight, he kind of starts to forget about his what's it called, economy.
yeah, it's one of the things it can be very tough to remember in the heat of a game. And it's something, your ability to do it, in pressure situations is something that separates, good players from great players. So that's definitely something that a lot of players struggle with. But Cyrus is going to attack from the side this time. He's had enough of that valley. He's going to try and approach Moofin from a different angle. And he is going to discover this base. Moofin is going to try and clear out these mines. He is baiting some of them out. It's costing him some lings, though.
Excuse me.
And here comes the Ultralisks of Moofin. And
The Ultralisks of Moofin.
the Fungals just miss. If this Bioforce gets fungled, it's going to be history for that army. So Cyrus needs to play this very carefully.
So are we at a stage now where Cyrus pretty much is stuck with what he's got? Like this is what he's working with. It's the humans.
Definitely. He
Terran,
can't
my
transition
apologies.
to mech or anything. He can maybe alter the ratio a little bit. Like if he wants to get up a couple more tanks, he can certainly do that. But he's not going to switch into mech play at all.
Okay. So for that sounds like then with Terran, it's pretty much either bio or mech.
Yeah, very much so. And he's done a very good job spreading his siege tanks out, and spreading out these mines. He's making it really tough for Moofin to approach, but Moofin has to. He wants to defend his base, and he is going to fight into the, oh man, the gauntlet of Cyrus's army. He's doing all right though. Actually, he is cleaning this up. Cyrus narrowly pushes him back though. A bit of a stalemate situation happening there. Moofin is able to clear out the army by his base, but Cyrus is also able to trade a lot of Moofin's units. And we see Cyrus, he's just expanding. He's taking more and more of the map. He's keeping the pressure on MoofinMan, and he's just expanding behind it. So this is very nice play by him.
All right, so let's take a look real quick at what's going on with the stuff. Like who's ahead in supply, who's ahead in what's going on with the minerals and such.
Well, Cyrus is definitely ahead in supply. You can see here that he is up by around 70 supply. That's pretty big. So he's definitely in the lead. And if we look at the worker tab, we see that while part of his lead is in the workers, most of it's just army, which means he has more stuff than MoofinMan. So MoofinMan needs to get a good engagement. That's a nice start. I don't know that he can follow up on it, though. Ooh, those tank shots.
Oof.
Yeah. And MoofinMan is going to call GG, says congratulations to Cyrus, and Cyrus is going to take the Let There Be LAN 5
All right.
StarCraft 2 tournament.
Nice. All right, let's see if I don't know if we have Cyrus on our friends list.
I don't believe so.
If you got MoofinMan, maybe you could ask him to send Cyrus up here for me. All right, so that is the end, the finale. It was finished off by Cyrus, who we've been pretty much watching clean up for most of today. We've got a little side background from him. I guess he's from Portland, right? And
Yeah.
he came down to visit OSU, and I guess he just he decided he was going to come down to the LAN. So
Yeah. His first LAN, and a pretty good result for him.
Yeah,
He did
yeah.
quite well for himself.
he definitely did. Do you see a lot of players stick with something that they're good with for most of a game?
Certainly. They definitely, a lot of, us on the on the OSU StarCraft team, a lot of us have been playing for quite a while, so it's usually something most people stick with for some time.
Okay. Okay. Well, I would just like to remind everybody that we are here at OSU in the Ballroom, and we're here for the Let There Be Land 5 2014 Winter Term LAN Party. And I'm John Fosdick, and this is Split Screen. And this is
Christopher Russell,
Christopher Russell. Gamer tag is
Lesd.
Lesd. There we go. And we're going to take a short break, and we're going to see if we can get Cyrus up in here. So we'll see you guys in a bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, John Fosdick here once again with Split Screen, and we are here at OSU in the Ballroom at the Memorial Union Building, going to the Let There Be Land 5 2014 Winter Term LAN Party. And you won't believe who I have sitting next to me. This guy right here, this is Cyrus. This is the guy we've been watching all night long playing StarCraft 2, playing with those Reapers, having a good time, just going crazy, and we're going to just have some fun. And we're going to ask him as many questions as we want to, and we're not going to let him leave.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we start with the first and most important part of the story. What's your name? Your real name.
My real name
real
is Aaron Russell.
Aaron Russell. Where are you from?
I'm from Portland.
You're from Portland?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to school for?
Accounting. actually.
Accounting?
Yes.
Okay, so you can do accounting and play StarCraft 2. So think about that. All right, so what made you come down to OSU? Like, why would you come down here from Portland?
Well, I haven't had any LAN experience really.
Like
and
ever?
There's like nothing in Portland. Like PSU does nothing related to StarCraft basically. I
Does
tried to get a
Does
CSL
PSU
team
really
set
do
up.
anything? Then?
Probably.
Like probably ballroom dancing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I
Maybe
don't know.
something like that.
I don't know. But I hadn't had the experience yet, and
Well, it
I
looks
went
like
to-
you've been playing StarCraft 2 for a
well,
while.
yeah, I have, but it's different to be in a live setting, I guess, kind
You
of.
think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
this is way different. I feel like I played terribly.
So are you thinking about maybe coming down again? Maybe trying to defend some sort of title?
Yeah, if
Are they going to give you like maybe a belt or something? I mean, I don't know how these
that'd be
things
cool.
work.
I have no idea.
Maybe we can make one out of like paper mache for you.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Definitely. Or worst case scenario, we're a TV show, of course, right? And maybe one of these days we can get you to actually come down to the studio, and you come down and hang out on my couch with me and just
That'd be
play
cool.
something, a random video game. It could be Super Smash Brothers Brawl. It could be anything, and you just game out with me for
Sweet.
an hour or so, or goof off.
That'd be cool.
Who knows? Who knows what we'll do? All right, so we'll continue with the interview. So Cyrus, you had just finished the StarCraft 2 tournament LAN here thing that we got. We had a little confusion though. We thought it was a best 2 out of 3, and then like there was a 3 out of 5. Is
Yeah.
that normal?
I actually thought it was going to be extended best of 3, and then it ended up being a best of 5, and I was cool with it. I didn't really
Well,
care.
you finished it off
Yeah.
anyway, right?
I was like, it's one more game. It's fine.
So how did you feel having to go up against MoofinMan again, even though you had previously go ahead and put him down?
Well, I'm very confident in TVC. It's definitely the matchup that I'm the most confident in. And having come off a win against him earlier, kind of made me feel a little too confident. So
Thus the mech build.
yeah, the mech build, which wasn't really a build at all. It's a build that I do sometimes, but I totally messed it up.
With the
It had
strategery.
been a while before I did it.
Well, when we were watching, it looked like as soon as he saw those Thors, I mean, he was like, all right, I am directly on exactly what I need to do to get.
Yeah. I made too many Thors. That's definitely one thing. I should have switched into Ravens earlier, because they're really good in the air. And then having tanks on the ground is good against swarm hosts. If you don't have tanks, you pretty
I
much
mean,
die.
you did pull out those, what are they called? Big, giant, the giant ships that fly.
The battle cruisers.
Battle cruisers. You pulled those
Yeah.
out.
There wasn't enough momentum behind that. You need a certain amount of them before they're worth getting. I didn't have that. He had a bunch of corruptors. He had anti-air, so it didn't really help.
Gotcha. So, what do you think? So you really think that maybe bringing up the Thors was a little too much? You didn't have the command centers that you need. I mean, we saw there at one point you even got rid of some of your SUVs. Looked like you were trying to make space.
Yeah, I built far too many SUVs that game, which is a problem that I experience often.
Yeah, Let's was telling us that because he's a Terran player as well, that most Terran like to stay around 60 when 60 units or SUVs.
I built 120 that game.
Ah, so you doubled it.
Yeah. I didn't have all of them alive at once, but I probably had at least 90, if not 100. So that cut into my army supply
Definitely.
majorly. I only had 100 army supply when I should have had like 140. When you're going mech, as you saw, I sort of built orbital commands without really having anywhere to put them. That's just because you want to call down mules to replace your SCVs, so you have more food for actual army. And I didn't really ever do that. That was why I pulled the SCVs and sent them off to their doom, but it was too late.
Did you know you could just strap like bombs to them or
That'd
make
be
them
awesome.
widow mines themselves
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
That would have been really cool.
That would have been cool.
Actually, being new to StarCraft 2, the widow mine kind of blew my mind. Like you definitely had some really good strategies, especially in that last game, where you were spreading them out. You knew exactly how much the duration was on them. Those Ultralisks didn't really scare you either.
Yeah, the Ultralisks did catch me by surprise. I didn't realize he had his fourth base so fast. I don't know exactly when he got
We
that.
did.
That was,
We knew.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought he had less economy than he did.
Ah, okay.
But I should have been expecting it because he didn't really build a lot besides roaches, slings, and infestors. There were no mutas. That's usually what Zergs sink their money into when they're going for lings.
Yeah.
So that threw me off a bit. But mines are good against everything, basically, as long as you unburrow them when necessary, because they just work by AI, where they will just target the first thing that comes into the radius. And if it's in the radius for more than a second, they'll blow up on it. So if there's one ling, it'll just blow up on it.
Right.
That's
Because what
really
we were
bad
seeing
trait.
and what we were kind of getting explained is a lot of people will send one unit in there just to get that 30-second cooldown to hit.
Yeah.
And actually, apparently, a lot of people complain about the widow mines that they're kind of cheap. They're cheap to buy. They don't really have much you can do against them, especially early game.
Yeah. The main reason I think most people have problems with mines, or at least I think the most valid reason, is because the risk to reward factor is really, really high, or really, really low. Excuse me.
Yeah. So if I'm right, there's 75 minerals, right, and 25 gas.
Yeah.
And that's almost nothing.
It's as much as a roach.
Oh, there you go.
Slightly less than a marauder. But that's not exactly the thing either, because you don't really have to do anything for them because their AI is pretty good. You just sit them down, and a lot of times you can do massive damage without even looking at them. So some people find that really annoying, and I can understand why. People have mostly sort of figured them out at this point, though. There's a lot of neat microchecks you can do against them to pretty much nullify them or even turn them against you.
Yeah, we were noticing that we actually pressed M. I don't know if you know exactly what that does, but it shows your clicks per minute or something like that. And you were hitting up in the 300-400 range
Yeah.
for most of that game. Is that normal or is that below average for you or what?
I usually play around 220 APM probably, but most of that isn't actually really anything in particular.
Well, I mean, it was a steady 300,
Yeah.
between 300
Yeah,
400. So I mean,
a lot of those actions are just me selecting my production rapidly because it's kind of weird. You get into these habits, and then if you stop doing these habits, then you kind of feel lost.
right.
And so APM spam just helps me feel the pace of the game. So I keep up the APM because if I don't, I'm like, oh, what am I doing with my hands?
Right.
Kinda.
Well, just to get a little understanding like that, me having a little bit of military service, one of the big things that they try to teach you is muscle memory. And it's pretty much the same tactic. It's something that they do over and over and over and over again, and finally you just get used to it. Like a great example is if you walk into a room full of soldiers and you yell, "at ease," every single soldier that has ever been respectful to an NCO will go to at ease and look around for this person. It's almost the same thing. Like your brain just automatically does it, right?
Exactly.
Right. And you've been playing for how long? And you could even go back into Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft days if you played that, because it's pretty much a similar game style.
Yeah, it's similar. I never really played Warcraft 3. I started in 2011. Before that, I played Brood War, just like custom
That's where I got
games.
most of my experience.
Yeah,
from is
I never actually really played 1v1 in Brood War. I kind of just
play the
messed
campaign and
around.
goofed around. So really, you're not new, but you're kind of new for the level that you're at.
Yeah.
Like most of the guys we brought in today have been playing for 4 or 5 years, even played like Warcraft.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a summer that was pretty free, so I kind of learned the game during that time. Caught up pretty well, I guess. But
So what would you say if like a guy like me was like, hey, let's sit down and let's do something about making John better at StarCraft 2, even if you were there or not. What advice would you give to somebody picking up the game or sit out in the self and said, hey, I saw that TV show, that game looks really, really fun, looks like it takes a lot of work. What would you go from it?
StarCraft 2 is a very unique game in the competitive scene because, to explain it kind of with games like LoL or Dota or
League of Legends and Dota.
Yes.
Yeah.
League of Legends and Dota, and FPS by extension. It's not about not making mistakes. It's about being really good and efficient at what you're doing. It's kind of the same thing. I have a hard time putting it into words, but basically in StarCraft 2, most of what separates players is just a lack of knowledge and ability to do a lot of little things at once.
Well, see, one of the things I tried to focus on when I first started was trying to understand the build orders for certain races. Now, I like to play Terran. Terran's my favorite race to play. But the problem is I always kind of want to play Zerg, just
Right.
because Zerg just seems like the race to have fun with. I absolutely am disgusted with Protoss. I don't like them. I don't like
You're
the way
not
they
alone.
look. They're costly. They're warmongery aliens, and we didn't even get to see them tonight because they don't deserve to be anywhere here at all. And that's a personal opinion from me, John, for Split Screen. I don't know how Cyrus feels, but I am just not a Protoss fan. Yeah, I'm racist. I'm a racist against Protoss. We need to find a slur or slang term for Protoss. Anyway, so
Yeah, you're not alone if you go to our StarCraft.
I know,
Everyone hates
right?
Protoss.
Like, there's
It's
I got cannons. No, anyway, and they're carriers, dude. I mean, the carriers are kind of cool. They look
they
cool.
are.
I mean,
They're also useless.
they're also
They
useless.
don't really get used.
I wish they'd just
unfortunately.
fall and hit the ground and like leave a dent or something, or maybe just like half of the carrier sitting there, so you could walk by it and be like, yeah, see, that's useless. all it's good for is just making my units wave out around it, like
Yeah.
it's useless. Okay, so let's go let's get back on topic. See, this is Gamer World right here. Everybody has an opinion and everybody's excited about something. So anyway, talking about Terran. So like one of the things that I like to use a lot, and most of the guys I've talked to about this today said that it's not really meta anymore. It's not like really part of the game. I love Marines and I love the medevacs, and I love to upgrade the Marines as heavy as I can with stim packs and just pretty much almost Zerg rush with the Marines. Is that even used anymore?
Oh yeah, that's very common.
So I'm not crazy.
No, you're not crazy. Mines are really beneficial to
See, I've never even
Marine
seen mines. That's what blows
yeah.
my mind. And like, I have not played. I played StarCraft 2, but not with Zerg expansion.
Okay.
So maybe
Yeah.
that's where the difference is. Coming
Yeah,
from.
that's basically what people still do. They go 4M, which is just Marine, Marauder, Medevac Mine, basically. Less on the Marauder side, but it's essentially the same thing, but with mines thrown in.
Okay.
And some people don't actually use mines either.
I mean, those tanks are pretty awesome.
Yeah,
too.
tanks are a bit underused right now.
These tanks are beautiful though.
They'll probably come into the meta more because tanks are a lot better than they used to be.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
they got a buff to their cooldown speed. But yeah, Marine Medevac is still like the bread and butter of
The bread
every
and butter
single
of
Terran's
Yeah.
army.
Because like when I played, I mean, I could beat Protoss really easily, especially with that.
Yeah.
But trying to play Zerg, it didn't
Yeah,
really work. So I
yeah.
kept trying to go and try to bring out my Hellions like I was seeing you doing. I tried to bring out the Hellions. I didn't know that you could really. I never really thought about using medevacs with Hellions and trying to sneak in. Like I've tried the Banshee stuff
Yeah.
before for that kind of stuff, but for some reason I always get caught or found.
Yeah,
or
I don't use Banshees for that reason. 'Cause I
yeah.
have
Somebody we
terrible-
were watching tonight was using Banshees trying
Yeah.
to do a quick. I think they tried it on you, and you were just like, "Oh,
Oh, yes.
you have double
Yeah.
gas. I'm gonna put this turret down," and then
Yeah.
like it was, and then you
Yeah.
had a Viking.
Yeah.
You brought your Viking out, and they
Mm.
were gone, no more. So
Yeah, that was lucky. Usually it doesn't work out that well for me.
yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like most of the time that you just really need to, when you scout, you need to pay attention. Just understand, hey, he's doing that. If
Yeah.
you do that, that's what this does. If this does that, then I need to do this to protect against that. And it's a mind game. It's all a mind game. It may look, like I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like most of the game is up here.
Yeah, it's like besides macro, knowing how to produce or spend your money efficiently, a lot of it does come down to knowing what your opponent is doing. That's most of the game. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so talked about giving advice. We talked about, and this is your first LAN, you said, come down from Portland. What do you think your favorite match was for tonight?
I did really like that last one.
The last
The
match?
last one was nice. I feel like it went really well for me because the map is really bad for Zerg and that just in general because it's really choked up. But I felt like it was a really back and forth game. I liked it a lot.
Definitely. All right, well, I'm trying to think what else I can ask you. Let me think here for 1 second. Why don't you tell me your favorite unit from every single race while I try to think of something more intelligent to talk about?
Okay. My favorite unit from Zerg. I don't like any units from Zerg. No, I think the Infestor is a really cool unit. It's kind of like the Defiler from Brood War, except for not a Zimba.
Definitely.
So I think having a bunch of spells utilized, and they're all really good spells. Well, actually, there's only like 2 of them, but it's a really versatile unit, and I think it works really well. I don't think it's used enough right now. I was glad to see it used in that last game, especially since I didn't die to it. That can be kind of frustrating if you get your entire army fungled.
Definitely. Yeah. He got a couple good fungals off
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
And
you did.
But somehow you just seem to pull back.
There
and
is a critical mass of medevacs where you have so many medevacs that you're like healing. Because the medevac heals through fungal before it can damage, it doesn't actually do any damage as long as you have enough medevacs, and I had too many medevacs, so...
Well, I think he was really counting on just getting them stuck.
Yeah, that's a big
Because
thing.
when they got fungled and stuck with that Ultralist, the Ultralist pretty much ate him, and
Yeah.
there was no Marines left.
Yeah. Yep. For Terran, my favorite unit is probably the medevac. It's very, very useful in this sort of situation. Really good drop potential, healing potential. You can do a lot with them. For Protoss, I really don't like Protoss units.
The cannon.
Objectively, probably the high tempo the most, though. Again,
high
it's a spellcaster with a lot of versatility.
Definitely.
The sentries, well, they have force fields, but they have some other, like, hallucination is really cool, but it's really underutilized. It's a good way to neutralize mines, because the mines will blow up on hallucinations, which are free units that the sentry can make. They look just like normal units, but if you detect them, then you know that they're fake. They don't do any damage. They take more damage, but they set mines off.
They're
and stuff.
sponge.
Yeah.
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 Which kind of is kind of like the Zerg marine little dudes, right?
Yeah, the infested Terrans and the locusts and the birdlings, because Zergs have tons of free units.
Yeah, those locusts were crazy that
Yeah.
one game.
Locusts are a really good unit, especially against mech if you don't have enough tanks, because everything that's mech besides tanks are single target damage, and locusts are free units. So if you're not splashing them, you're gonna have a bad time. Basically, you're gonna die because.
And that's where the Thor problem came in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so I thought of something intelligent to ask you. Okay, so every gamer knows that every video game that's ever come across, there's Easter eggs, right? Everybody knows about Easter eggs. So could you tell me what your favorite character quote is inside the game? What I mean by that, and most people may know, you may not know, but when you click a character over and over and over again, sometimes they'll have a funny quote. Which character and quote is your favorite from StarCraft 2?
It's a really good question.
Right?
I haven't
See,
listened
you had to let
to
me
them
think.
for ages, but I do know what you're talking about. There's this one Easter egg unit, which is the Tauren Space Marine, like a Tauren from Warcraft. It has a bunch of cow puns in it.
A bunch of cow puns.
They're all really good. If you haven't heard them, I think you should go and click on it a bunch.
I mean, like a long time ago, one of my I love the Zug Zug. Like,
oh yes,
that's always so funny. That's from Warcraft.
Yeah.
Zug Zug. Yeah, I was actually I was playing League of Legends the other night, and there was Mundo, right? And he's got a skin that kind of reminds him of the orcs. And the guy was juggling with him, and he just kept saying Zug Zug, and nobody understood what was going on. But as a gamer, those are things you got to look for.
You should know what's going on.
Yeah.
What is the roots?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, if you really dig deep, like, actually, I was online last night on YouTube checking out some stuff, just out of curiosity. And did you know there's a legit Legend of Zelda timeline?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
And it's
really
whack.
It's
three different lines, and I was blown away. It was beautiful though, just the way the guy did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to post it on Facebook. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And I hate
is.
Facebook. Anyway,
It works well.
so yep, this is Cyrus. He won the StarCraft 2 craziness. It was, no mechs. No mechs. No more mechs.
No.
Don't do that. That's not good. All right.
And it had been a while since I had done that.
Right.
It was supposed to be a 2-base timing that just kills him, but it didn't pan out.
Yeah. I still want to congratulate you, though. You did a great job. It's very nice to see you go back to your bread and butter and kind of finish it off with the Reapers. And the Double Reaper, last question. Why?
Okay. So I was going for a particular build that you get 2 Reapers and 6 Hellions for, and then you did neither third really hard. Because if they only have Lings and Queens, you put the Reapers in the front, and you tank the Queen damage, and any Lings that come just get roasted by the Hellions. And Reapers regenerate their health, and Queens have really low DPS. So you can take out the Queens with the Hellions, which also have really low DPS against Queens, but since you have 6 of them, they probably only have like 2 or 3 Queens. If they're being greedy, then you can really punish them for it.
Gotcha.
Then you can switch into a macro game. So I was only ever going to get 2 Reapers, but once I lost the first one, the potential kind of fades away because I don't really have the meat shields anymore.
Yeah, and you didn't want to waste the minerals to bring out another Reaper to try that. Okay, gotcha. All right, so Cyrus, great. It was great talking to you, man. We're going to go ahead and bring in Moofin, and we're going to talk to him about how he felt against playing against Cyrus. And just so you know, there's never any hard feelings, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Everybody's here to have fun and have a great time. So Cyrus, once again, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you around.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right.
All right, so like I said, name's John Fosdick. I'm here for Split Screen, and I am just going to bring in MoofinMan, and we're going to talk to him, and we're going to see how he felt about how today's went. And don't forget that we're also here at OSU in the Ballroom doing the Let There Be LAN 5 2014. What's the word I'm thinking of, Moofin? 2014 winter term LAN party. All right, so Moofin, obviously, he's here with me. I would also like to give Moofin a special thanks today. He has been our key person in getting the intel and the people and everything that we need to actually give you guys the information and the coverage for StarCraft 2. So if you just want to bring the mic up to the tip of your lip, and say, "Yay, John! It's no problem. Thanks."
Hey, John, it's no problem. Thanks.
There we go. Okay, so obviously today, maybe not the best day of your life, but
It was pretty up there.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I mean,
yeah. No, it was a
you
good
brought
day.
yourself back from the losers bracket back into the winners bracket and got to play in the finals. I mean, it's not a small feat.
Yeah, no, I was really happy with my performance, actually. I haven't been playing a whole lot recently, to be perfectly honest with you. And it kind of reflected my play a bit in my first series against Cyrus. I think you guys casted that one, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think we got almost every single game that played.
Yeah, I got completely and utterly destroyed. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, neither of the games were anything good, like, at all. And so going into the finals, I was right after, I guess, our first set, I was pretty depressed. But then, not depressed, I don't know. Beaten down, I guess, would be a good way.
Tilt.
Yeah,
Tilt.
yeah, I was on tilt. Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. And luckily, I had a little break, because then Lesden Cyrus played or something. I don't know. So other people were playing, so I had a little break. I got to watch some games. And then I just kind of sat there and I'm like, you know what? He's better than me. Cyrus is better than me. Like, I can accept that fact, but I'm going to do my best and I'm going to have a good finals. Like, my goal going into the finals is to take a game off of him. And
Which you did.
Which I did.
Which that mech game.
And I felt so great after that first game. I was like, you know what? I don't even care. He played well. He's a good kid. Like, that's fine. I was really happy with that.
See, and that's what it's all about. It's about having fun, not worrying about if you're the best. If you want to worry about being the best, you go to world tournaments and stuff like that. That's where
Yeah.
you can throw fits and cry and whine. But here at OSU, we're just here to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. It's a LAN party.
Yeah.
So talking about the mech game, it seemed like you were really on the ball. As soon as you saw he was mech, you knew exactly the counter for it. You went in there, you used the locust and whatever the
The swarm hosts.
bumblebee, yeah.
Yeah.
They look like bumblebee
Yeah, they do.
hive thingies. They just
And they spawn little bees
yeah,
to attack
little
people.
locusts, yeah. And we were talking to Cyrus about it, and he was like, well, he built too many Thors. And the way you were using them just right where they were out of focus. His ravens weren't getting close. Your I want to say Multilisk.
Mutalisk.
Yeah. They were just taking out those ravens so that there was no chance for your the locust dudes, the hosts.
The swarm hosts.
Yeah, the swarm hosts.
Yeah.
You get where I'm going with this, right?
No, I get you.
So
I
I
get
mean,
you.
we were going. It was a really cool game. It was great to kind of see Cyrus come out of his bread and butter, kind of, because he's been pretty much doing the same build all day long. And I've been wanting to ask you, why didn't you switch anything up against that same Reaper build?
You mean just the early game, just the Reapers
Yeah,
being annoying?
like you knew the Reapers were going to be there, and then he kept throwing those Marines at you, and those
Yeah.
healings, and like
He was playing on the outside. It looked like he was playing exactly the same every game, except for the mech game, of course.
right, which was almost exactly this. It was almost exactly the same.
It was
as the
almost
games,
exactly the
wasn't it?
same, but he would mix it up every game just slightly, just ever so slightly.
So it must have been something that we couldn't catch then, because
Well, the
it looked
first-
identical to me every game.
We can start with the first two games of the first series, if I can remember that far back. I think both times it started with one Reaper, right?
Right.
And then, like, the first game, he followed up with Hellions. And then the second game, he followed up with Marines. And then, I guess about every other game, he would do that medevac drop with the Marines and Widow Mines in my main.
Yeah.
And so it felt to me like the games I prepared for that drop, he didn't do it. And the next game, I'm like, okay, he's done doing it. I won't prepare. And then he just
And
does
he
it
did
again. Yeah.
Okay, so there
So-
was a little twist.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle differences. Because some games I went more Hellions, some games I went less. And then his end comps were always different, too. Because there's quite a few games he had a lot of Marauders for when I was going Roaches, because
Right.
Marauders are great against Roaches. And then there were other times where he just had only Marines and Mines, and that was good enough. Like, yeah.
Definitely.
So as a player myself, I'm really standard usually. And
Well, from what everybody else in the tournament was telling us about you is that you like to play random sometimes.
I used to play random, yes. And
Right,
I'll probably
right.
go back to it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And
I
that
love
you
doing
chose Zerg because you feel it's your best team. But
Yes.
you are very, unlike, I'm not saying his name right, I think it's Novus?
Knobs.
Knobs.
Yeah.
Who is very all in, chips are down, kind of go crazy.
Every
we were
game.
playing against him.
Yeah.
We were told that, you're more conservative. You kind of like to almost go by the book, but you do have the ability to look in. I don't want to say look into the future because you don't have a third eyeball or anything. But
I wish
you can
sometimes.
look at the battlefield and you can go, okay, I know what I need to do to kind of turn this around and kind of put it in my favor. And most of the games you weren't behind unless it was Cyrus.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing that kind of confused me is like, I wonder if Cyrus wasn't here, what would have happened? I mean,
It would have been, if Knobs had taken out Les like he still did, then I would have won it all. But I am not sure if I could get through Les. Zerg versus Terran is my weakest matchup, and so Cyrus is obviously really good, and so that wasn't good for me. I don't know if I would have been able to beat Les. I can't say for certain, but I would have fared a little better, I think.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest.
Okay. And everybody's been like curious today, and I'm pretty curious. What happened to Protoss? I mean, everybody's been saying they just kind of. I mean, I hate the Protoss. We've talked about this.
Everyone hates
6 or
Protoss.
7
Don't worry about it.
So, what exactly happened to or how many Protoss players that were here today? I mean, was there even a Protoss player?
There was one Protoss player, and I played against him round 1, and then he.
Well, that's not fair.
Yeah.
He didn't even get a chance.
He didn't get a chance. No, I beat him 2-0, and then he ended up dropping to go play Dota 2 in the first round of loser bracket. Other than that, though, we've had in the past I guess Modu was also playing Protoss tonight, but he's the least active. We're all very inactive right now. We're at like a weird part where not all of us are playing a whole lot. Yeah, but Modu especially, he hasn't played like since the original game's beta, which was like 3 years ago. Like he hasn't played seriously in a long time. But so he got knocked out pretty quick too. We used to have 2 pretty dedicated Protoss players, Plato and Spirit, and Plato is notorious for being a rager. Like he gets really angry when he loses.
I was heard about Caesar. I think was telling me about. He's definitely fun to watch.
Oh,
but
he's
not
a lot of fun to watch. But there have been he kind of doesn't hate some people, but he doesn't like losing to some people. He hates losing to knobs, completely. And there was one tournament where he just lost to knobs, and then he just instantly unplugged his computer, packed up his stuff, and was out the door within 5 minutes. Like. So
there are some gamers out there that go through, I don't want to call them tantrums because we're all old enough to not have tantrums, but they are almost like a revert. We revert back into that, no, that's my toy, stop touching my toy kind of attitude where, there are some people out there that can't handle it. Some people don't realize that really we're out here to have fun. And there are some people that literally are tryhards.
Yeah.
And if anybody's heard that term before, a tryhard is somebody that literally is doing everything they can to win. And if they don't win, then they freak. And that's what I've always seen from tryhards.
It happens to everybody sometimes, though.
Yeah. I've had some games.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. I've lost Xbox controllers off of some Call of Duty stuff. But, and it wasn't on purpose. It was more like I was angry. I forgot that it was plugged in. I moved. The window was there. I don't know.
It all happened so fast.
Yeah, there was red. I felt maybe there was blood, but I found out it was jelly or jam coming out of my eye. I don't know. It was crazy. Anyway, so I don't want to wrap it up because I'm having fun. We're talking about things. We've got to get this footage. Let's talk a little bit more about what maybe you think could have been different that could have caused you to not have as much trouble with Cyrus in the last game that could have pushed it into that.
In the very last game or
the very, very last game?
The very, very last game was...
Because that's where everybody's going to remember the most.
That's true.
Yeah.
The very last game was very close, actually. I felt...
Right.
I was feeling... Okay, I'll give you a little backstory about the mind games that were going on. Because it's really hard to tell sometimes about players. Like, there's a lot of mind games that happen during the games. So... The previous map, I think, was Daedalus Point, and that's the one where he built only Marines, Medevacs, and Mines.
Was that the very, very small map?
That was
the one small, wide open?
It was kind of like a horizontal-shaped map, and I was in the top left, he was in the bottom right.
Oh, okay.
So that one, I had gone primarily Zerglings and Mutalisks, and Widow Mines and Marines just destroy that, and I got killed. And over the course, remember I had mentioned before that sometimes he mixed in Marauders, sometimes he was doing other stuff, but that game he just was like, he cut out all the like meat, and then just kind of like, whatever, Marines and Mines, that's all I need against your Mutaling. And so, going into the next game, I was like, if he does that again, I'm not going to just fall into it. So I went Infestors that time, which were the Spellcasters.
Right.
And so, I'm sure Les told you, but they have a spell that like locks things in place and does a bunch of damage.
Oh, yeah. And
Cyrus was saying he was really excited about that. He was really glad that you brought out the Infestors because he said he thought he was going to get done for because of the Infestors.
Yeah.
Because that's like a really good counter for what he was doing.
Yeah, that's going into the game. That's what I thought. But there was one pivotal point in the game. He played it really well. He kept sending little clumps of like 5 or 6 Marines, and I'm not going to waste, because since Infestors are based on energy, so they gain like, I don't know, 1 per second or something. It costs 75 to cast a Fungal Growth, which is the lockdown spell.
Yep.
And so if I just keep throwing it wildly and wasting it, I'm going to run out, and then I'm going to die, because the brunt force of my army is the Fungal Growths. And so he kept just, sending up like little waves of like 5 or 6 guys, which I can't waste Fungal Growth on or else I'm going to die. And so I had to keep picking at those, and then one pivotal point was we were fighting outside my third base, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think I ran out of energy with my investors. He just kind of beat me down eventually. It was before I had my Ultra Skill out. It was a great timing by him, and he killed my third. And once my third base was dead, it was just kind of, like there wasn't a whole lot I could do. Yeah, my Ultras popped, and then I was able to push him back, but I was done for at that point. My income was just not as good as his, and I couldn't. Ultras are very
He'd
expensive.
actually snuck another base on you by that point.
Did he?
That was the other part that kind of threw away. It was down in the very bottom left-hand corner.
I never even considered it.
Yeah.
I think, though, if I hadn't lost my third in that one engagement, maybe if I'd been a little... I should have built a few more investors, actually. I was getting really greedy and could conserve my energy a little bit better. I had quite a few missed fungal growths, like you just shoot them and you hit nothing.
Yeah.
And that played a little safer, maybe built a couple spine crawlers, which was the turret things. Not lost my third. I think I could have taken that last game. But even if I did, there would be a steep hill ahead of me because I'd have to win the next game to win the first best of 5. And then since I came from the losers bracket, I would have to win an additional best of 3 after that against a player that I honestly think is better than me. So
hey, and it's admitting it is the first part. Acceptance.
Yeah. That's why, going to that final series, I had a pretty clear mind. I was like, yeah, whatever. It's okay if I lose.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the overall question I'm going to ask all night, and then we're going to wrap it up and whatnot. But what I want to ask you is, StarCraft 2. How did you get into it? Why did you start playing StarCraft 2?
I've played video games for much my whole life. You might be able to tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've got 8 tattoos, all video game related.
Yeah. It was actually when I think one of my cousins was visiting my parents' house, and he was bored. He was like 13, and my brother and I were like 6 and 8 or something, so he had nothing to do. So my parents bought him a copy of the original StarCraft to play while at our house. And at the time, I couldn't play it because rated M for mature. But as I grew up, that was one of the first games I won't say the first game I played, it was like Math Blaster, and like the kids' games first.
Yeah.
But it was the first like serious game I played was the original StarCraft, and I wasn't good by any means. I was like 10 at this point. But I played through the campaign, I liked it a lot, and I started to get a love for the game. And ever since then, I've kind of been hopping RTSs a lot, which is a genre it is, because I hopped over to
real-time strategy, by the way.
Yeah, good job. So I swapped over to Age of Empires, like Age of Empires 2, Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun, and then I stuck with Warcraft 3 for a long time.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was a great game. And then I kind of got into Dota and MOBAs at that point. That was, a dark time in my life.
See, I'm in League of Legends right now.
Yeah.
One of the games I play the most.
Yeah. But, and then, StarCraft 2 was released. And I'm like, well, awesome. I love Warcraft 3. I love the original StarCraft. And it was great. So I've been playing it since the original beta. And I love it. It's a great game.
So, once again, another person, childhood or something like that, starts out with something, remembers it, brings it up to it. Just like for me. I am a huge RPG player. Like, I grew up playing Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, that kind of stuff. Now, when it comes down to it, I am more into MMOs. So when it comes down to, like, World of Warcraft, Rift, what else have I played? Star Wars Knights of the Republic. I pretty much almost max beat and flush them away. Like, I'm an MMO guy. That's my stuff. I got a lot into Counter-Strike, too. And like I said, now I'm playing LOL. But, yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. So, what else can I do? MoofinMan, right?
Yes.
MoofinMan. Okay. Did I even ask you your real name?
It's Reed Hamilton.
Reed Hamilton. MoofinMan. Do you stream or anything like that?
I don't. My computer is really bad. It's an old laptop, and I
Yeah.
I can hardly run the game in big engagements. I cannot stream at all.
Well, I figured I'd ask, maybe let you
Yeah,
throw your
yeah,
stuff out there. You're part of the StarCraft actual OSU team, though, right?
I'm the coordinator for the team, yeah.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to get in touch with you about that or anything like that, what would they do?
There's a Facebook group. It's probably the most active thing we are, because there's the official Oregon State Gaming Club Facebook group, and then there's branches off for all the different games. There's a Dota 2, a League, and a StarCraft 2
So they have that
one.
on there?
Yeah, they have that on there. And so all of us at the LAN are pretty active on the OSU StarCraft page, and that's a good way to contact me. Or you can you could add me online. I'm MoofinMan. Character code's 941. Those are probably the best ways of getting in contact with me,
Okay, and now just, I don't want to throw it out there as a deterrent, but are you caring if people of minimal skill try to talk to you about maybe getting some info or help, or
Oh no, of course
or
not.
do you
No.
only want people that got some skill to start out with?
No, I'm perfectly fine with the newbies. We need more people, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I mean, I might even throw it. I mean, I played the beginning of it. I don't have the expansion for the Zerg yet, but I've want to play the Terran, and I've wanted to play StarCraft 2. But every time I look on YouTube, it's confusing. I'm lost. So
well, there are quite a few good tutorial videos done by I won't say professional players, but like really highly respected casters, and they try to ease people into the game. And then if you have like just some friends, you could be like, hey, what the hell is this unit? What does it do? What do I do against it? Or like situations like that. It makes it a lot easier to pick up.
Definitely. So community. Community
Yeah.
is something you want to work with.
No, we have a good little community. I like it a lot.
All right, cool. All right, so MoofinMan here with me at the 2014 Winter Term Let There Be Land 5 LAN Tournament Party. Awesomeness. Second runner-up for the StarCraft 2 Finals. Did a really good job.
Thank
a lot
you.
of respect for all these guys.
Thank you.
This is not just something you could just pick up and learn. I don't care what your parents have said. This is a skill. This is a trait. These people can go somewhere and do something with their lives. Here's a
Definitely.
great example. What are you doing in school?
Computer science.
There you go. See, so he's not just goofing off in his basement, hanging out on his mom's couch or anything like that. He's going to college. He's being a real person. He's a man. Show some respect. Gaming forever. All right, I'm John, also here for Split Screen, KBVR. Like I told you, we're in the ballroom basement. We're trapped somewhere in a dark place.
We are in a basement.
Yeah.
After
okay.
your speech.
We're just here. We're having a great time. So MoofinMan, go ahead and say goodbye. I'm gonna say goodbye.
See
we're
everybody.
gonna take a break.
Yeah.
Split Screen. We're out. Thanks, guys.